Okay, we are live now. Okay, so welcome to today's edition, okay, of the King's Crescent broadcast, and we'll be dwelling mainly on scholarships, how you can access funding for your master's and PhD program. And with us here is a Commonwealth Scholar, David Michaels. Is in the UK, studying at Imperial College, London. Okay, where he's doing his masters. So our plan is to ensure that through this live discussion, David will break down the entire process on how you can access your funding through scholarship opportunities for masters and PhD programs. Okay, without further ado, I would leave the floor for David to take over from here. And while we have more persons joining in, so once if you're here, you can let us know in the comments and also share so others can join in and let them know that we are live and we can join in. We would not want to miss this session. It is fully packed, okay, with premium content. David would break it down for us from applying, you're getting your certificates ready, getting your documents, your general documents ready, your essays, okay, your transcripts, and how best to prepare your CVs as well, such that it would stand out, so as to make your overall application stand out. So, David, the floor is opened to you now, so you can come in and take over from here.
Okay, I hope you guys can hear me. Am I hope I'm audible enough. Hello, everyone. So my name is David Michael. Just to be sure that we are here, I don't know if you could maybe just leave me a comment. I would like to see your comments so I know that you are here. Maybe just say yes. You could maybe type in yes so I get to see your comments. Okay, so I'm waiting to see the comments. I'm waiting to see your comments. A number of things we'll be talking about today, and it's a good time to sit back and relax and ensure that um, there are no distractions. You're not distracted with anything at the moment. Yeah, because in the next few minutes, we'll be talking about graduate school masterclass in quotes, right? That's the name of the series. And more specifically, we'll be talking about leveraging scholarship opportunities. Okay, so I can see some comments. That's why. Okay, I can see Kabiru from Wari. That's nice. Okay, yeah, I feel like this is going to be a very time critical session, right? There are a number of things I feel like I would want to elaborate on, but I might not have the time to. So, as much as you can, be with me and follow me through the process, right? Okay. Okay. So let's begin with the slides. It's time to go up with the slides. Okay, so just before my slide comes up, I'm currently in London. I'm currently doing my master's program at Imperial College here in London. I am a fully funded scholarship. I'm funded by the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission and Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office (FCDO) here in the UK. It's a departmental agency in the UK, right? So it's fully funded from tuition fees to accommodation to living expenses and all. It's fully funded. Okay, my slide is up now, right? So we are supposed to be talking about, and we are going to talk about leveraging scholarship opportunities to achieve your graduate school dreams. I don't know what I feel like, okay, maybe we need to first of all establish the fact that they need to be a dream, right? They need to be something that you are looking forward to before you think about trying to leverage the opportunities that you can find, right? So what are your graduate school dreams? What are your aspirations with respect to pursuing your graduate program, pursuing a graduate program with respect to advancing your career, right? If it's if you intend to advance your career by maybe pursuing a graduate program, I think this session will be very useful, and I need us to stay put, right? So moving on from here, for some reason, okay, you will find out eventually. Let's just move on. Okay, please forgive us. I think the logo is a bit obstructing my slide, or it should not obstruct it so much. But I hope you could see the content of the slide, right? So what I was just trying to pass, the message I'm just trying to pass across here is to more like walk you through a little bit of my experience at Imperial College. These are my amazing classmates, right? Okay, so as you can see, I'm like the only African in the class. Yeah, like the only white in the class. Yeah, so that's amazing. And every one of those guys you see there, they are very intelligent. Okay, let me share a little bit of my experience, right? Schooling at Imperial. Initially, for the first few months coming into Imperial, I felt down. I felt like I was so dull because everybody around me were very brilliant, right? They they seemed like they had an edge. I don't exactly say a competitive edge, right? But they had an edge, largely I think because of their background, because of where they were coming from. So I have classmates schooling at Cambridge. I had classmates. I still have some of my classmates are schooling. They schooled at King's College. Some schooled at Manchester Uni, different universities here in the UK, right? And then, of course, I also schooled at a very great university, University of Benin in Nigeria. But then coming into this place for the first time, I felt like I was one of the dullest in the class. So I spent time working on myself, working on my mindset, right? And eventually I was able to pull that down. I was able to work on my mindset again. And I feel that was really very instrumental in helping me catch up with every of the activity that was going on in the class. And mind you, it was actually my first time in the UK. I've not been to the UK before. And so a lot of the things I found, they were pretty new to me. And there was just so much to get on with, right? The classes, they were coming at me. So I actually graduated like 2017, and I came in to do my master's 2021, right? So that's like 3 years down the line. I spent a number of time doing other jobs and all before coming to do my master's. So there was this gap between my academic my undergraduates and then my MSc program. So I had to catch up. There were plenty of catch ups to do. But in the midst of all of that, thank God for the fact that I had an amazing team of classmates. They were very supportive, and then I had amazing tutors. Right. So just down, you see myself. I don't know if you could see me. Actually, I'm somewhere behind in my lab coats with the rest of my classmates and my tutors. Right, we're conducting some labs. So besides academic work, you can see I also try to catch up with other events, right? I think that was a friend of mine, one of my classmates actually celebrating her birthday, so I was there with them. Yeah, so I'm not just studying, right? I'm also building relationship. And then this was just yesterday. The So usually it's an annual program, Commonwealth Scholarship Commission, which is the government agency that funds me here in the UK. They usually organize an annual event. This event was channeled to was designed actually to help us meet other scholars across the UK coming from different countries, about 42 countries, Commonwealth countries actually, right? From Pakistan, from India, from name the Commonwealth countries, different African countries, Ghana, and all of that. So this event was just yesterday. So at the top left, you could see me just standing there, and then at the top right, you could see some of my friends from Pakistan. There are a number of them also from Bangladesh, right? So yeah, so that's just about the Commonwealth event that held yesterday. It was an amazing event, right? It gave us the opportunity to interface with a number of great minds and all, right? So without further ado, I think we should get right on with some of our interesting topic for today. So I'm going to begin by talking about some general tips, so more like giving you a general overview of the processes involved in applying for scholarships, in applying for admission at a particular university, right, at your desired university. So what are the processes involved? So if I want a scholarship, say I want to target a particular scholarship, what are the documentations involved? What are the things I need to put in front of my mind, right? Yeah, one of the first things you need to do is you need to gain access to the needed information. I was going to attach to this slide a number of websites and some sites that you could check to get subscribe to actually and get constant information. For some reason, I couldn't include it, but I'll just mention them briefly, and I hope you could maybe pen them down if you want to. Right. So if you are interested in subscribing to this website, I found it very useful applying for scholarships during my early days. Right. So we have scholarship positions. It's one of them. So those are some of the sites. So what I did was I started by subscribing to some of these websites, and periodically I was getting updates virtually almost every 5 times a week. Right. They were always sending me updates of different schools and different universities that were offering scholarships, right? And that's actually where to start from. If you intend to maybe study abroad, look out for opportunities that could help you fund your studies abroad, you want to start by getting access to the most important information that you need. And that's why subscribing to some of these sites can be useful. So I mentioned scholarship positions. And there's After School Africa. It's also a good site, right? You actually get overwhelmed. You literally have to turn down, like you just have to look away at some of the offers that they will bring you, right? Because they will actually come with plenty scholarship opportunities. So we have US College International, that is global scholarship. We have Scholarship Air, scholarshipair.com. It's the website for Scholarship Air. We have Scholarship Region. We have Education USA. You might want to look them up. Maybe after now, I could include them on the chat so you see them, right? So just in case you were writing and you missed out one of them, we have scholarship positions. We have After School Africa. We have uscollegeinternational.com. It's actually global scholarship. We have Scholarship Here. We have Scholarship Region. We have Education USA rather. These sites were very instrumental for me, and I think they are sites that you need to get access to the scholarship opportunities that are out there. Then the next thing is, now I don't know, maybe if you have never sent in an application for a graduate program before, I need to just type yes. So I know that I'm also speaking to a number of people that have never attempted a graduate application before. You could maybe just say yes on the comment section so I see that you are there. For some people, you might have attempted scholarship applications a number of times. I particularly had to, I sent in applications like, okay, it was actually at my second trial, right, that I got the Commonwealth Master Scholarship. So for some people, they have applied a number of times, and yeah, and they are yet to get scholarship. Okay, so I can see that some persons are applying for this scholarship for the first time. You're welcome. No worries. That means, so for some of you, you might still be doing your undergraduate program. For some of you, you might be done with your undergraduate program. There's almost little or nothing you might be able to do about this if you are done with your graduate program, right? But if you are not done with your graduate program, let's say, sorry, your undergraduate program, if you're not done with your undergraduate program, let's say you are still in the process, right? Your undergraduate program, you're still in the pipeline, maybe year 1 or year 2, as the case may be. You can still fight hard to ensure you graduate well. Very, very important. Usually, most fully funded scholarship. Now, I need to say this: we have partially funded scholarships and we have fully funded scholarships. For partially funded scholarships, what they do is they take a bit out of your tuition fees. Maybe they take a part of your academic expenses and then they shoulder it, and then they allow you pay maybe the remaining percentage, like say 60%, 50%, as the case may be, right? So actually just take 10%. So you have a lot of the financial burden to bear as a student. But if you are targeting fully funded scholarship, okay, I can see some people saying yes, it's their first time, right? So if you are targeting fully funded scholarship, the quality of your result is very important, right? So you should maintain and graduate with a strong CGPA, say 2.1. That's second class upper, right? I don't know how it's graded at your particular uni, but it's second class upper, right? Usually that's what is acceptable for most of these institutions. Right? There are very few institutions, there are very few agencies that fund you fully if you do not graduate with at least a second class upper. So very, very important, right? And then another thing that you need to have for graduate application is you need to decide on your proposed course of study, your thesis focus, and make a draft of your personal statement and motivation letter. Okay, this is very important. You need to, of course, what's the essence of attempting an application without you having decided what you want to study, right? So for me, I studied biochemistry at my undergraduate level. during my course of study, I fell in love with molecular biology. I love the DNA. For me, it was like the source of life. Like it was the source of life, right? Yeah, but it's where life begins from. That's where you receive the instructions that determine the shape of your head, the length of your hands, the color of your eyes. That's what your that's what your genes do, right? So for me, I wanted to be closer to the DNA, and I decided to go into the field of molecular biology. But having knowing that I want to study human molecular genetics or genomic medicine or similar courses, and take note, the program you might want to study at your institution might have different names. You just need to be able to identify it, right? And sometimes one of the things you want to do when you check those sites at the different at your different institutions based on your preferences, you want to also look at the program information, right? The information explaining what the course is going to give you, right? And those things are very critical to help you actually say, oh yeah, I think this is the course I want to go for. Maybe it doesn't exactly have the name that I want, but this is the course, and then I'm going to go for it, right? So those things are very critical. Knowing your course and identifying it at your preferred institutions is very important. But beyond that, you need to have a research interest, right? So we're going to talk about a number of documents that you will need for graduate applications. One of them is a personal statement. I love the personal statement because it's a statement that is meant to be personal. Okay, so we'll get there and then we'll talk a little about that, right? But besides knowing that once you have been able to identify your proposed course of study, what you want to study, the next thing you want to do is you need to have a research interest. For master's program, you will definitely write a thesis. For some master's program, like the one I'm currently doing is a taught master's, right? So of course I need to write my thesis, but there's some master's program that are research driven, so it's research masters. Even at that, you still need to have a research interest. You need to have a focus. So that I want to study human molecular genetics or genomic medicine, as the case may be, was not good enough. What precisely do I want to investigate? What field do I want to go into? Do I want to go into investigating cardiovascular diseases, or I want to go into investigating cancer, or I want to go into it's biomedical science research, right? That's my field, biomedical science research. So it's not just enough to say this is what I want to study. What do you want to focus on during your study? What excites you about that course? What is your research interest? And that is something you also need to sit down to identify, right? Because when you write your personal statement, which we'll see very briefly on the different steps to take on how to write a personal statement, right? One of the essential things that needs to be in your personal statement is at least something, maybe a phrase or two, a sentence or two about. Actually, it should be more than a sentence or two. Don't mind me, right? Yeah, a couple of sentences talking about what you want to focus on during your program, and it's very important, right? So yeah, for me, it's cardiovascular diseases. I wanted to investigate cardiovascular disease. I want to develop a novel therapy that will put an end to cancer, that will put an end to heart diseases, especially heart diseases, right? And also diabetes. Those were my core research interests. You also need to know that, very important, right? So you need to decide on the proposed. Okay, I've said that your thesis focus and make a draft of your personal statement / motivation letter. Yeah, and then you need to get your documents ready. There are a number of documents that you need for a graduate scholarship application. Now, take note of what I'm saying. When I say graduate scholarship application, I might not also say that I might not be specific about the different universities, or I might not exactly say university application, right? But I'm talking about both the university application and the scholarship application. Now, some scholarship are incorporated together with the university application. So when I say that, I mean that for some application, right? For some graduate school application, you might not necessarily have to apply separately for the scholarship, right? Just applying to the course is an automatic, you'll be considered automatically for the scholarship just by applying to that particular course. So you just might need one single application, right? But for a number of them that I have found, you send multiple applications, one to your institution, the school, you apply to get admission, right? And then you also apply to be selected for a scholarship, right? Sometimes you can find the scholarship in the institution. It could be an institution-based scholarship. Sometimes it's an external agency funding the scholarship. So for Chevening and for Commonwealth, it's the government of UK funding students for graduate programs, largely master's programs, right? I think Commonwealth also funds for PhD as well, right? So they fund you for master's program as an external agency. But then you also have to apply to at least 3 different institutions in the UK for a particular program that you want to study. Very important, right? So some of the documents that you need are: one, you need your finalized personal statement, your CVs, international passport, right? So I'll just highlight this very briefly. We're going to see sections on the personal statement, so I won't want to talk about that at the moment, right? So you need your personal statement. So you need to know how to draft a personal statement. That's what that means. You need your CV. You need to have an idea on how to draft a CV. I have a very limited time, right? So it's so sad. I already know I will not be able to exhaust some of these topics largely, but I'll just give you general tips, at least to get you started, to get you thinking about scholarships, to get you thinking about your admission, your graduate school applications, right? So yes, you need CVs. Take note. Take note. I didn't say you need a CV. You need CVs. It's I feel you need to understand. I don't know. I don't know what your school of thought is, right? I don't know if you think that there is just one perfect CV for every application. I'm sorry, there is not. There's nothing like that. You don't just have one CVs for everything. So I have numerous CVs. In fact, the CV you might use to apply to Stanford might be different from the CV you used to apply to Imperial College, right? You need to understand that you need multiple CVs for. And what does your CV actually tell you? They help to communicate your experiences, your work experiences, your voluntary experiences, your academic background, a little bit about what your skills are about, what you are interested in. They help sell you in uncommon ways, right? Because for most people, for most of the people you'll be applying to, most of the people that will be reading your application, their first contact with you rather will be through your CVs, right? So you want to get that right. And then you always want to design your CVs in a way that they speak the best of you. They communicate you in the light. So imagine, so for instance, you see, I had the opportunity one time working with a consulting firm to decide to fire some people actually, and decide on the number of people or the specific people that we might end up recruiting, right? And sometimes when you get to read, sorry to say this, right? When you get to read some people's CV, it's so sad how some people write their CVs. You just receiving their CVs. I'm trying to use some kind words right now, but just seeing their CVs, you just know that this person doesn't know what he wants. You just know that it's detached. So I'm applying as maybe I'm applying to study management consulting, or maybe I'm applying to study biomedical science research, a biomedical science research discipline. And there's nothing about my CV that speaks of me as a biomedical science research person, right? It's contradictory, a little bit contradictory, right? Because one of the things you want to use your CV to do is speak about those experiences that are most vital and critical for your application. And those things are very important, right? Because right here in the UK, for instance, one of the things that one of the things that agencies do is once there's an opening for a job application, and trust me, for every single job application you find, there are a number of people applying. There could be up to 1,000 or more, right? And for every one of those applications that come in, they trust me, the recruitment team might not exactly have the time to go through every one of those CVs. So what they do is they usually send those CVs through a computer system, more like they analyze them computationally using some kind of programming tools and all of that. And so what that programming tool does is that it sifts through the CV and it identifies the CV that are most relevant to the job available, right? Based on, I think it uses some keywords, and there are other things other algorithms that it uses to analyze the CV. And so the sad part is, by the time that entire process is done, some people's CV doesn't even get the opportunity to be viewed. They don't even get the opportunity to be seen by the recruiters, right? Because for, let's say, 1,000 CVs coming, right? Like 950 could be discarded by the system. Why? Because they were not, maybe they didn't use critical terms, they didn't use keywords that were significant to the job that they were applying for. So I'm not exactly saying this is how some of these scholarship bodies analyze your personal statement or your CVs, but knowing how to structure your CV tailored for the course of interest, or tailored for, I'm not talking about a job right now, right? Tailored to meet the need of that program that you want to study is very important. Of course, if you are going to be applying for a graduate program, except you are schooling in your country, you need an international passport, right? So of course you should know how to get an international passport. It doesn't cost so much. So you need references and recommendation letters. Very important. You see, that's why you don't want to joke with the relationships you had while you were an undergraduate in your school, or while you were doing some kind of program in your institution, because you need these people to come back to write you references. And that's why maintaining a good reputation is very important. And then for when you apply for scholarships, right, there is how they grade you. They grade you for everything. So you get a point for the quality of your personal statement, you get marks, you get graded for the quality of your references. So the higher the person's academic reputation, the better, right? So if, for instance, a typical scholarship will require at least 3 references, sometimes 2, right? If it's let's say you left school like 2 years prior to the time you're applying, or for some time a little longer than the time, let's say you spend like 3 years or 4 years or 5 years after school prior to the time you're applying for this particular scholarship, they would actually require that at least you have 1 academic reference, 1 professional reference, and yeah, so 1 academic reference, 1 professional reference, and a reference that could give some overall endorsement about your personality and your character. For Commonwealth, I used about 3 references. I'm not exactly sure now, but I think I used 3 references, right? But if you are maybe a fresh school leaver, right, usually they ask for 2 academic references and maybe 1 other reference on your personal character. Or so these things are very important. You don't want to joke with them. So typically in an academic setting, you should seek out to get professors, right, to write your references. But if not, you could look out for some of your lecturers with doctorate degree. The higher the person's academic profile, the higher the person's academic reputation, the better. You could also get your employer to write you an academic reference. Not an academic reference, sorry. It's an employment, a reference as professional reference, actually. That's what it's called, right? So you could get your employer to write you a professional reference if you have been working prior to the time of your application. So and then the reference, usually the other reference, a personal reference on your character, usually comes from a mentor. So those are some of the key references you need. Recommendation letters, as they are also called. Proof of English proficiency. Now, I need to say this, right? Some people feel like part of the reasons why they don't exactly apply for scholarships because they feel like the process is very financially demanding. I didn't spend a dime applying to Commonwealth. Okay, see, a quick disclaimer. It was at my second trial that I got the scholarship, right? So the first time, honestly, to be honest with myself, if I were me, okay, no, I'm still me, right? So I'm me. If I were my sponsors, I will not choose me the first time I applied. It was so bad, right? Imagine. So I had this issue of always procrastinating. I don't procrastinate anymore, just in case. Yeah, so I don't procrastinate anymore. That was that was then, right? So I was actually doing my youth service then when I first applied for Chevening and Commonwealth Masters. Imagine sending in application. Okay, let me calm down and say this. For Chevening, you need like 4. You have to write like 4 different essays, right? Plus other personal detail and expenses you have to fill during the application process while applying online. I had to write about 4 different essays for Chevening, and for Commonwealth, there are about 10 different essays that will make you sit down and question your life, do a lot of self-reflection, right? I had to sit down to write all of these essays, and guess what? I did it in like a day prior to the deadline, few hours before the deadline. That's actually when I sent in my last application. That was very bad. So it was my first attempt. For me, it was an opportunity to just get to understand what the application process was like and then move on from there. So I spent the next 1 year strategizing for my next application. And it's all about the strategy. It's not enough to want to apply for a scholarship. It's all about the strategy. It's all about the exceptional initiatives that you take, right? So I spent time trying to get academic experiences. For some reason, I was already done with my academics. So sorry, I didn't mean to say academic experiences. I spent time getting other professional experiences, work experiences that were critical to my line of study, right? So I made sure I found my way during my youth service. I got into a tertiary institution where I worked as a graduate teaching and research assistant, and that was also instrumental to boosting my CV. These things are also very critical. So I also spent time understanding the different essays and the requirements for some of these scholarship. And then I was always thinking in the light of my application, even ahead of the time. So that's what I was spending time to do during that period. And then I was always checking online, checking my email notifications for different scholarship updates. I was familiarizing myself with different universities and what they require of me. All of those things are very important ahead of time, right? So very, very, very important. So during my first application, I actually spent some money applying to some universities because they required application fee, right? But then during my second trial, I did not spend a dime. Even applying to Imperial College, some of those top schools, I didn't spend a dime because I was able to access application waivers. So these things are not they're not as expensive as you think. You just need to find a way to get around them. So proof of English proficiency. Usually, if your native language is not English, if you're not from one of those English-speaking countries, right, you would need to prove that you can speak English. And so usually people they write tests like IELTS, they write TOEFL, they write some of these external English proficiency tests, right? But for me, I didn't write any of those tests. I didn't spend money writing all of those tests. I was able to get my institution, my tertiary institution of learning, to give me an attestation letter. Now that letter came directly from my department. It could come from your university registry, right? Your student union, no, not your student union, rather. What's it called now? I can't exactly remember the name. I don't know. You should know what that department is at your particular institution, right? Maybe student exams and record department or whatever it is, whatever it's called at your university. So you could get an attestation letter from them. So I got my department to write an attestation letter. What is an attestation letter? It's just simply a letter that attested to the fact that I did my course in that university with the English as the language of instruction. That's simply what it is. It was just a one-page letter, and I got schools to accept it. Some accepted my West African examination certificate result, right? So there's an exam that we usually take at the end of our secondary studies, right, in Nigeria. So that's one of the things that I use. And English language was part of them. Some schools accepted my WAEC results, some accepted my attestation letter, right? But some will insist that you write this exam. I just moved away from those ones that insisted because, yeah, for some reason, I already sent in a number of applications to many of the institutions that weren't requiring me to write that. So, yeah, academic transcripts and school certificates, very important. Some universities might not allow you to complete your application until you have obtain your academic transcript. I hope you know what an academic transcript is, right? It's a document you get from your school outlining all the different modules, the different course subjects, the different courses you did in that institution, right? And what your grades are for those courses, right? Those things are very important. So they want to see the different modules, different subtopics you did in your undergraduate, during your undergraduate program. Very important. So that's what your transcript tells you. For me, I found I didn't exactly get my official academic transcript early enough, so I was able to put together my the results for every one of my level when I was in year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4. I was able to compile them together and use them as an interim transcript. Some people don't have access to those kind of documents. So one of the things you might want to do is make sure you get your academic transcript from your institutions. Then your school certificate, that's your final certificate. Prior to the time you get your, I don't know, maybe by now I don't know how it works with some other institutions outside Nigeria, right? But for us in Nigeria, usually it takes a few months after graduation to assess your school certificates, right? So some universities understand that and they can wait for it to be available. They can accept a statement of result or something saying that, okay, yeah, he actually graduated with a first class or a 2-1. And over time, eventually, when they give you the admission, sometimes they can give you an unconditional offer where there's no other condition to be met. Sometimes they give you a conditional offer where there's 1 or 2 conditions to be met. And then after some time, some of the conditions that you might need to meet might be sending in your official transcript or sending in your official school certificate. Those things are very important. Now, other certificate that you might need might be NYC certificate. This one is peculiar to Nigerians, right? So when I was applying for Commonwealth Masters, we'll see shortly, there are different types of Commonwealth scholarships. One of them is Commonwealth Masters. When I was applying for Commonwealth Masters, I needed my nomination agency in Nigeria to nominate me for the scholarship. And the nomination agency for Nigeria is Federal Scholarship Board. And one of the documents they required was my NYC certificate. But don't worry, don't be afraid. There are other scholarship offers from Commonwealth that actually would not require you to have this certificate, just in case you haven't done it, right? But I think it's important that you get some of these certificates if it's peculiar to your country. You might also need GRE, but it's not something generally required in the UK. But I know some institutions in the US, they require this. Now, next is largely you complete your university and scholarship applications carefully. So this is the final step. I hope am I too fast? Okay, let me try to read your comment just in case somebody. Okay. Yeah, I don't have time, right? I just have like a few minutes and I've not even started. Okay, let me drink water first. Okay, yeah. So when you have all of these documents, the next thing you want to do is dive into your scholarship application or your university application. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Now you want to dive into your scholarship application at this point. And but first, like I said, you might need to send in application to your choosing institution, right? To the university in question. I'm going to be a little bit more specific moving forward. But so these are the general things you need for most graduate school applications and all. Yeah. Your questions will be very vital after this session, right? Because there are some certain things I might be missing in a bid to pace myself and end at the right time. So yeah, so make sure you ask those questions if I'm missing something. I have like 20 minutes more and I need to pace myself right now. So yeah, this one is very important. Getting an edge with your scholarship applications. There are certain things that you must not joke with. Very important. I was going to share my experience with Commonwealth Scholarship. I've not exactly shared it, right? Oh yeah, but one of the things that gave me an edge, it's one of the things I mentioned here during my application was the fact that for some reason, I always wanted a graduate scholarship after my undergraduate program. So I didn't joke with my studies while I was an undergraduate because I knew the importance of graduating with a good result to be able to get fully funded scholarship opportunities. So it was always in front of my mind. I didn't keep that at the back of my mind at all. It was in the front of my mind. So yeah, I was able to pace myself and I made a first class from biochemistry, right? So, but when I was in 300 level, I already knew that one of the things that will boost my chances are writing publications and all of that. So it also influenced the way I approached my undergraduate project so that I could eventually publish it. Those things are little things that could give you an edge. I highlighted them here and I'm going to talk about them, but I just want to give you a general overview. And then for some reason, when I went for the nomination interview in Abuja, because for the Commonwealth Master Scholarship, you must especially for Nigerians, right? They are generally for Commonwealth Master Scholarship, you need some kind of nomination agency in your different Commonwealth regions, right? You should go online if you're interested in Commonwealth precisely to check what your nomination agencies are and how to be able to meet up with their specific requirements. But I had to travel to Abuja in Nigeria for a compulsory nomination interview. And the funny thing about Commonwealth Master Scholarship is you don't get the scholarship, you don't get selected for the scholarship if you don't get nominated by your national or some other nomination agency that you are eligible for, right? So that was it for me. I had to travel to Abuja, and then there were two critical questions that they asked me during my nomination interview. Because the truth is, I saw thousands of applicants coming into that came into that particular venue wanting to be interviewed. There were many. And then they just needed to ask exceptional questions. They just needed to find out those that had some exceptional, that were able to meet some exceptional criteria so that it would be easy to nominate them. Because imagine where, like, say, 5,000 people come for a particular interview and then you only need to select like maybe 200 or 300 as the case may be. You actually need some kind of should I say, you need something extra to be able to nominate them. And there were two critical things that they were looking out for, right? Besides what you graduated with, whether it was a first class or a 2-1, which is almost very compulsory, right? First class wasn't even the thing. I know of people with second class upper that got the scholarship, and I know first class students that got rejected. So it's not just about the result you graduate with. So that is not just it, right? So for us, they asked us two critical questions in my space, in my particular room. So they asked if I had an academic publication and they asked if I had an academic award. I don't want to say I'm lucky. I don't really subscribe so much to luck, right? But I'm not a believer of luck, but yeah, but it was something like that, right? Because just few months that time, I published my undergraduate project, but I didn't publish it as a journal, right? I didn't publish it with the journal. I published it as a book. But bro, I had a publication. That was it. And I had the ISBN number and all. I was able to show proof of it. Those were some of the things, the documentations we had to provide during the nomination interview. So voila, I had a publication. And then the next question was, do you have an academic award? Glory to God. I believe in Jesus, right? So glory to God. I had an academic award in my 200 levels as an undergraduate, right? So I got the MTN Foundation Science and Technology Scholarship Award. Yeah, so I was able to meet the two criteria. And then I left that one. And then they asked a number of questions about history. They asked a number of questions about, okay, why do you want to study this? What is your research interest? I spoke a little about, okay, why I wanted to investigate type 2 diabetes and all of that. And then that was it. I left the room. I left feeling like, okay, yeah, I'm going to get this, right? Yeah. Some people do, okay, I need to cut down on some of these stories so that I could move on to the next slides and then just finish this section and I'll wait your questions, right? So that was it for me. I was able to meet this criteria. Then you might be thinking, oh yeah, I don't have an academic award. I don't have a publication. How do I get this kind of scholarship? I'm not saying that is the only thing that they look out for, but trust me, those things are very instrumental. They could give you an edge. If you could make that work, if you still have time in your undergraduate program to make that work, that would be good. But then don't be afraid. This is for Commonwealth Masters, right? There are different other Commonwealth scholarship that doesn't, that will not put you on the spot like that for a nomination interview, right? Some of them you will find out soon. So improving your chances, one of them you want to do is find your big why. You need to have a motivation. You need to have a big vision. Now, I don't think it's good enough a reason to just want to leave your country as the only motivation to want to do a graduate program outside your country. Yeah, I know maybe the condition in your country might not be good enough and you feel like, okay, to get better chances of making it in life, in quotes, let me leave my country. Now, it's okay. I feel that's not a bad motivation, right? But that should not just be the only reason. You want to find something that you believe in, because one of the things we don't know, right, is when we receive your application. Now, assume I'm your sponsor, right? When I receive your application, I want to see that you have a strong reason why you want to do what you say you want to do. I want to see that you have been all the while, through your experiences, through your voluntary experiences or work experiences, I want to see that you have been patterning your life in such a way that can help me relate with you with respect to the kind of field that you want to go into. I should be able to see signs, that positive signs to show that I think this person is in the light, is already working in the line of this particular course. And then it makes it easy for me to select you as a potential candidate, right? It makes it easy, right? So those things are very critical. Find your big why. Know why you want to study the course. Find your motivations. For me, I feel like there's so much to say on this, but I don't have enough time. Okay, so for me, right, I had to sit down with my life and then I asked myself, okay, why do I want to do molecular biology? Why do I want to investigate type 2 diabetes? In the process of sitting down to ask myself some of these questions, I discovered, okay, I had some peculiar, seemingly unfavorable experiences growing up that were instrumental to the reason why I want to study this course. So for instance, I lost my mom at age 16 to cardiovascular disease, right? She just slumped one time and then she died. And then I discovered growing up as a young child, my dad suffered from type 2 diabetes. And then I went to study biomedical biochemistry as an undergraduate. And then now I want to do a research in type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular diseases. When I sat down and then I saw the connection, it was a very vital point to talk about in my personal statement, right? So that was some kind of motivation for my course, right? You might want to see, so for some of you, something bad does not have to happen to you, right? First, before you get motivations like this. It could be that you went for a conference, or it could be while you were seated in that class, there was something that your lecturer taught you, there was something that you saw in your environment that motivated you, something that you want to change in your society that is motivating you for your course. That could fuel your big why, right? It could fuel your vision. It could give you a good reason for wanting to study what you want to study. Very important. Secondly, you need to master the act of telling stories. I should be able to see what you have said. Yeah, you should write in such a way that when people read your documents, your essays, when they read your personal statement, they should be able to see what you have said. I should think in pictures just reading your words. And you need to master the technology of using words. Should I be honest with you? If this is the only thing you catch from this session, you have caught a lot. A lot of the times, your ability to get some of these scholarships, even with your touche experiences, even with your exceptional experiences, right, might simply just depend on knowing how to carefully use those words, knowing how to communicate in the most persuasive way possible, because it's just all about playing with words. With these essays, it's knowing how to it's just about playing with words. And a lot of these things will leverage on how much study, personal study you have done about what you're applying for, right? So that's what brings me to my next point. That's why research is very important. A lot of people just sit down and then when they want to start an application, they just write everything that comes into their head. You are applying to a school for admission. You did not do any background information check about your course. You did not go the extra mile to research about the topical issues in your field. What are the prevailing problems in your field that you want to solve? So, for instance, in trying to draft my personal statement, I didn't just say I want to study type 2 diabetes. I didn't just say I want to study cardiovascular disease. I had to search online, and I discovered that type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular diseases, they were world killer diseases. I showed some statistics from different institutions in the UK and different institutions in the US as to why this is a global problem, and I was able to narrow it down to my particular locality, right? So those things are very important, right? For me, for instance, while I was applying to Imperial College, one of the lines that I used was I talked about a particular professor, Professor Robin Shattuck, at Imperial College during the period when COVID was during the pandemic, early period of the pandemic in 2020. He was one of the scientists, one of the professors here at Imperial that led the investigation into developing a vaccine for COVID, right? It was one of the people together. I think Harvard and Imperial at that point, at some point, they were taking the lead in trying to develop a vaccine for the virus, right? And then it felt like, okay, while I was applying, it was a good point. I felt like so I mentioned his name and I said something like, this professor has also inspired me. It's one of the reasons why I feel like I want to get an opportunity to meet him. Now, forget the many stories. What I was trying to say, we want the Fuji, sir. I'm sorry, I can't give you the Fujis. I don't have time. Oh my God. Will you be willing to stay an hour? Yeah, actually, I knew that I would not be able to exhaust everything I need to say. Yeah, but the reason why it's important to go deep into your investigating your school is because you want to make me feel like you are a part of us even before I give you that admission. I want to see that you are obsessed about Imperial College. I want to see that you are overwhelmed. And in talking about this too, very, very, very important, before you ever start a scholarship application, make sure you spend time understanding the aims of the scholarship. Hey, 10 minutes more. See, I promise you, I would try to end earlier, but I'm very sure that I might not end in the next 10 minutes. I need to see that you are going to allow me. I need to see that you're going to allow me continue. But let me just hit it straight up as much as I can. In fact, this is very important before you attempt any application. And it's like a scholar's best secret or biggest secret. Spend time understanding the purposes and the aims of the scholarship that you want to apply for. So for instance, for Chevening is about leaders. It's about influencers. It's about people that have positive vibes. And it's about people that have prospects to be leaders in their society. And so they pay attention to the quality of your CV, maybe a little more than they pay attention to what you graduate with. They want to see that you have amazing work experiences or you have done amazing stuff in your community that position you as a leader. And this thing is very important to them. Chevening is global. It's a global scholarship, and anybody from any part of the world can apply for Chevening, and it's specific to some UK schools. Now, for Commonwealth, you see the little difference. Now, Commonwealth is not so particular about all of those work experiences, but one of the things that drives them is they are development impact driven. They are sustainable. They pay attention to the SDGs, the sustainable developmental goals, the sustainable development goals, the different sustainable development goals. They think sustainability. So they are looking out for people that have, you might not have done so much, right? But they have been doing something with the little knowledge that they have in their community, in their little space, to show how, to show that they're looking for a way to maybe eradicate poverty, or looking for a way to eradicate inequality. They're looking for a way, they're looking for a way to, I don't know if you understand what the sustainable development goals, right? For me, the first time I even came to know about sustainable development goals was when I was applying for Commonwealth Scholarship. And that's one of the reasons why I like all of these applications. They have a way of helping you broaden your perspective and approach to life. And these things are very, very important. So spend time investigating and understanding the purposes of the scholarship, and then tailor your application to that. So for quite recently, I applied for the Knight NSC Scholarship. It's a scholarship. It's peculiar for those that want to get into Stanford and all of that. And then for Knight NSC Scholarship, they are looking out for people that have a positive mindset, They're looking out for people with a community mentality. They're looking out for people that have independence of thought. So they usually have specific criteria that determines their selection process, and those are the things that you want to spend time investigating. It will help you tailor your CV. Be strategic. Get the work experiences now that you can. If you still can, try to look at, if you have to volunteer to get strategic work experiences that position you in the line of your field. It's very, very critical. It helps boost your CV. Get those publications out if you can. When you apply for these scholarships, talk about your achievements. Don't be shy. Talk about them. They look at them. In fact, those are the things they're looking out for. And don't apply alone. Have a community of people, friends that are applying. You have people that are reviewing your essays. Don't just write the essays and say, this essay is the best, let me submit it. No, you need to have friends, you need to have mentors that could give you feedback. Now, on the general tips, be a scholar. I said this, and I think it's very, very critical. Don't apply as an applicant. When I say be a scholar, and when I mean don't apply as an applicant, right? It means be able to at least anticipate what your sponsors are looking out for. So if I have to apply for a scholarship, I will first of all sit down to ask myself, okay, what exactly are the things that Commonwealth Scholarship require of me? And that's where what I said earlier is very important. The importance of going to research on the aims of the scholarship and all. Those things are very critical, right? So it helps you apply thinking like your sponsors. And I feel like that's where most of us make the mistake. You just think as an applicant. Imagine when you're applying for a job. All you know is, I have a CV. I think my CV is good enough. I want this job and I go for it. We really don't sit down asking ourselves, okay, what are the things that my employers are actually looking out for, right? What do they look out for? What are the kind of people that they want to employ? And then you sit down to ask yourself, how can I position myself better? How can I sell myself with my CV, with my personal statement, with my essays in such a manner that I help them see me as the person that they were looking out for? Those things are critical, right? So that's why not applying as an applicant, but applying as a scholar, being able to more like being able to fellowship with the mindset and with the you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the aims and the things that are critical for your sponsors is very important, right? So be precise, work smart, don't just work hard. Honestly, we never get rewarded in life for working hard. I'm telling you, that you have applied 10 times for this scholarship and you have never gotten it. It's not, it doesn't mean that you actually deserve to get it in the first place. Life will not reward you. In fact, life is not designed to pity anybody. They are the deliberate efforts you take. I've often found out that most of the people that get these scholarships, right, they took exceptional steps. Some of them even had to go online, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, to find a mentor, to find people that had gotten this scholarship before, to mentor them, to ask questions. That's how to work smart, right? Because the truth is, you can't do it on your own. One of the ways to, in fact, I would have missed out on Commonwealth Scholarship if I didn't have a friend that was applying together with me. Her mom works in a particular university, and she knew when the nomination interview was going to be conducted. For some reason, Federal Scholarship Board in Nigeria, right, they don't exactly send you mails when the interview has been scheduled, right? They don't send you mails. You just need to find it on their website or maybe gain access to a newspaper publication and all. I would have missed out on it. It was like a few days to the nomination interview. If not for this, my friend, whose mom was privileged to have the information and then came to tell her, this interview is like in 3 days' time. You need to prepare to get there. And then I knew I had the contact with her. We're working on this application together. And then she told me I would have missed out on the interview. And that's how I would have lost the scholarship. Upgrade your belief system, right? Don't think in the negative. Some people don't know how to expect the results or the oh my goodness. Some people don't know how to expect what they have, the positive result that I've applied for, right? Some people don't know how to expect what they should expect. So that's what happens to you when you're trying to talk so fast. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, I don't know how to not expect to get a scholarship if I've applied for it. Some people say, so that I don't get disappointed, so that I don't feel bad if I get a rejection. I apply, but I don't expect to get it. Why should I apply for a scholarship if it's not to get it in the first place? I cannot emphasize on the importance of a positive mindset, but believe me, you send negative energy and negative vibes when you don't expect the scholarships or the applications that you have made. I don't know how to do it, but trust me, a lot of the time, things don't actually happen for us. They happen with us. We make them happen. Let me give you a typical example, just so you get my point. Do you notice that the way one of your friends, right? Maybe just one of your friends, or maybe that person you are looking up to, the way he responds to you, the way people treat you in class, the way people treat you at your workplace is different from the way they treat others. So, for instance, Obaseki Emmanuel is my friend, the host of this program, right? The way he responds to me is quite different from the way he responds to maybe some other friend of his from class, right? Why? What's the difference? It's not because he's a chameleon. He can't treat everybody the same. It's because there is something about me that compels him to respond to me the way he does. So a lot of the times we don't know that we influence all of our life's decisions, all of our life's outcome by ourselves, right? So that is. I don't want to do so much talk about positive energy and the need to the secret, like the law of attraction and all of that. But believe me, it works. So this is what some of your favorite universities have to say about a personal statement. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you could see this clearly. First, I don't know. First, I didn't know that my slide was not going to allow, like, the platform was not going to allow me display my slide with the animations that I've done. If not, you are not supposed to be seeing all of this together, right? You're supposed to see the section for Harvard first. You know the way PowerPoint works, right? And then see the section for Stanford first. So for some reason, it's just all in your faces. I can't regulate the yeah, but for Harvard, this is what they have to say about the personal statement. A personal statement is intended as an opportunity to give the admissions committee a better sense of who you are as a person. Oh, okay. See, to be honest, I can't read all of this, right? So thank God it's on YouTube. You can always go back at this session. You can pause the video and maybe go through the specific, some of the specific tips shared by this institution. But just so I give you a general overview, a personal statement helps you communicate yourself in a way that no other documentation does. So for instance, if I've studied, let's say, human molecular genetics in Uniben as an undergraduate, and maybe I want to do a master's program in business. Now, I might not have, first of all, I don't have the academic background for the field that I want to study in graduate school. So how do I communicate the reason for my sudden change of career path? The personal statement is the difference maker, right? So it's in your personal statement that you communicate what your motivations are for the course. Why do you want to study what you want to study, right? What are the things driving you? What is it about the school that you're applying to? What is your research interest? Tell us about your work experiences that position you as a fine candidate for this program. Why should the school select you? These are the different things that you talk about in your personal statement. And we cannot beat that. So generally, when you write a personal statement, the structure generally involves you could start with maybe a general background talk on why you develop passion for the course you want to study in that school, what fueled your research interest, what you want to investigate, more like a general overview. The next set of paragraphs might talk about maybe your work experiences or voluntary experiences that you have had that position you as a fine candidate for that course. The next paragraph might maybe talk about your maybe other voluntary experiences, because what people don't know sometimes is that they think that, okay, it's just about getting the work experience, it's just about getting the professional experience. Some of these schools also assess your leadership experience, right? They want to see that you have been doing voluntary work, you have been serving in leadership platform. That's why you don't want to despise some of the little things, that some of the little volunteer jobs that you have been doing. Trust me, I will end shortly so that will give us time to ask questions, right? That's why you don't want to despise some of the little experiences that you have had. It might be working in your church, in your local community as maybe the music leader, right? But when you communicate it in your personal statement, you might not want to communicate it as, oh yeah, but I don't know how to say it, right? But generally, what I'm trying to say is don't despise some of those little experiences you've had, thinking that they don't matter. Because for me, one of the miracles, one of the most impactful thing that happened to me as a person during the period of while I was applying for all of this scholarship was that they made me to become more self-aware. I reflected on myself like I've never done before. I thought about my life from start to finish. Okay, I can't say from start to even down to my I think I've thought about my life from start to finish, because I've thought about how I die, right? I've thought about my death too, because for Commonwealth, I had to write 10. In fact, Commonwealth Scholarship was the most difficult applications I've ever made in my life. And trust me, you don't want to, when you target scholarship like this, please, that's the mistake that some people make. Don't apply for one school. For me, I was always targeting big schools. I wanted, in fact, one of my the criteria I used to screen some schools out was based on how many Nobel laureates they have produced, because I trust that I'll be a Nobel laureate, So I wanted to get close enough to institutions that have produced Nobel laureates. So I chose Imperial, I chose Manchester University, I chose Glasgow. I was literally going for those big schools. For some people, it might be safer going for small schools, right? If going for the big schools are not something you want, or you feel like getting admission is going to be difficult. For me, it was about the adventure. It was about, yeah, what is the people that get into Harvard? They don't have 5 heads. It's my head, maybe a little bigger or smaller than mine. Anyway, but then that was it for me, right? So I wanted some of those schools. I don't know, but that might not exactly be what you want, right? So yeah. So I was saying that the Commonwealth Scholarship was like the most difficult scholarship I would applied for. But then one of the most important things that I learned from that process was the fact that it helped me think about my life. The questions that they asked me made me think about my life. Imagine them asking you questions like, write an essay on your career plans in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years. Talk about the development impact of what you want to study. Why do you, how will what you have studied benefit your community? My brother at that point, or my sister, so it doesn't seem like I'm discriminating the ladies. My brother and my sister, my friends, my friends is safer, right? So yeah, these things help you. They help you think about your life, and you just have to be deliberate and you have to be intentional, because one of the things they really want to see, and it's part of the reasons why they ask you so many questions when you apply for scholarships, because they want to be able to get an overall perspective about you. Is this person purpose driven, or is an opportunist? Sorry, I don't exactly mean to say anybody's an opportunist, but are you really purpose driven, or you're just trying to seek out some cheap opportunity to travel abroad, in quotes? Those are some of the things that they look out for. And that's why once you don't have a big why, once your motivations for wanting to do what you want to do is not strong enough, they can easily screen you out. So general overview of the Commonwealth Scholarship. Now, let me use Commonwealth Scholarship, the one I got, as a way to just highlight some certain things, right? What are some of the general overview? So every scholarship have eligibility criteria. There's some certain people that cannot apply for some certain scholarships based on the scholarship's eligibility criteria. And that's where you want to start, right? For Commonwealth Scholarship, you need to at least be resident in a Commonwealth country, right? You need to at least hold the first class, at least a second class upper. But for some reason, good news, Commonwealth will allow you apply if you have a second class lower. But then you must at least have a second degree, maybe a master's. You must at least have a master's, a second degree, or some maybe postgraduate diploma or something to be able to apply for Commonwealth. You can see some of the highlights here later, right? So, but Commonwealth is specific about, they have different development teams, and they're specific about different, they're specific about different, what do I say now? Different sustainable development goals and all of that, because their goal is to see that the SDGs is actualized in 2030, right? You should pay more attention to the SDGs if you are thinking of applying to Commonwealth and all of that. But they have key selection process. Sorry for this overlap at the selection. I don't know if you can see can you see my cursor actually? Right? I don't know if you can see it waving on the screen, but there are some key things that they use to select you. They select you based on your academic merits, the academic merit of the candidate, the quality of your plan of study, and the potential impact on the development of the candidate's own country. Take note. I don't know if I said this earlier, but like I said, I told you earlier actually, that when you want to apply for this scholarship, one of the first things you want to do is pay attention to what the scholarship eligibility criteria is and what they're actually looking at for. For Commonwealth, they were particular about how relevant what you want to study will be to your own country, because some of these scholarships, they make you. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yes, you can. So, general overview, there are different kinds of Commonwealth scholarship. We have the Commonwealth Master Scholarship, which is the one I got, and it enables you to undertake a fully funded scholarship in one of the Commonwealth countries. There's a Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. Now, for Commonwealth Masters, one of the things that make it exceptional is that you must get nominated by a nomination agency, and that's where the nomination agency for me in Nigeria was Federal Scholarship Board, right? But for Commonwealth Shared, you don't need nomination agency, and you also don't need NYC if you're in Nigeria, right? Because for Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, the unique thing about the scholarship is, unlike Commonwealth Masters, for Commonwealth Masters, first of all, you need to select at least 3 different UK schools. With the admission you get from the schools, you can apply for this scholarship. Now, whether or not you get the admission, it doesn't deter you from applying for this scholarship. You could apply filling in the schools and in different courses as it were, right? And then apply to the schools later on. When you get the admission, you can come back and update update them with that information on the scholarship website even after the deadline. But for Commonwealth Shared, the good thing about Commonwealth Shared is, and I usually advise people for Commonwealth Shared, apply to as many schools as possible. The good news about Commonwealth Shared is that they have many list of schools and a list of courses. You just need to be. Are you still with me? I need to see your comments. I feel like. Okay, so we have the Commonwealth PhD Scholarship, we have the Professional Fellowship, we have the Distance Learning, we have the Split Site Scholarships, and all. There are different Commonwealth scholarships. You might want to also check this out later. And yeah, to cut the long story short, thank God we are done, right? Take notes. There are many things I could not talk about, but I hope you just have a general overview of what a graduate scholarship application is like, especially here in the UK, right? So these are your just to highlight some certain things again, Commonwealth Scholarship generally. Now, there was an amazing news, something good, a good. Yes, we're still with you. Thank you, Victory. I see you. Okay, yeah. There was a good news I found out yesterday. So yesterday was the Commonwealth Scholarship. We're going to play a video shortly, just a very brief video. Yesterday was the Commonwealth Scholarship Connect and Collaboration event. It's an annual event they organize for all the scholars here in the UK that came from Pakistan, Bangladesh, South Africa, Ghana, different Commonwealth countries, right? All the different Commonwealth countries that they were sponsored, right? So we all came together yesterday for that welcome / actually it was a connect, more like a connect and collaboration event. We had to meet different people. There were sessions that were designed deliberately to make us connect and bond with ourselves. So it was an exciting event, right? But one of the things I found out, unlike what I was thinking earlier, I was always thinking that when you apply for a Commonwealth scholarship, there were a fixed number of people that get selected every year. I felt like there was a specific quota for Nigeria, right? Maybe only 200 people get selected for Nigeria, because I felt like they had to zone it by the country. I was wrong. Guys, guess what? In the Commonwealth Scholarship yesterday, I discovered that I don't want to say more than 30% or a little over, but Nigerians were the most awarded. So when I say Nigerians were the most awarded, right, I'm not exactly trying to say that some countries get awarded the most. No, they actually allocate these awards, or they give these awards based on the size of the applicants from a particular region. So imagine if maybe there were 5,000 applicants from Nigeria, maybe only 15 or maybe only 100 applicants from, I don't know, maybe Ivory Coast or maybe Ghana, for instance. You don't expect them to say, oh yeah, because it's just 100 people we give all the 15 in Ghana and then only give like 100. No, they actually give you the scholarship based on the size of the applicants, right? So the more the applicants, the more people they get to award from that particular region. So it's good. So don't be afraid to send in those applications. You might get a chance. So this is the man that awarded me my scholarship, Richard Middleton. You can see me yesterday. I took a shot. So I had my moments, right? I had my moments with these guys. So this is the guy that decided my fate. No, God actually decided my fate. Remember, I told you I'm a person of faith. I believe in Jesus Christ, right? So God decided my fate, but he used this man to do it. Richard Middleton is now the former chair for Commonwealth Scholarship. The Commonwealth Scholarship Commission. Is now the former chairman, right? He just handed over to this other guy, Professor Robin Masson. So we were together yesterday and it was an amazing time. These guys are simple people, very simple people. It might just be a little tough getting the scholarship, but by the time you get it, every one of these people can be assessed. This is like the number one person that gets to select you for the scholarship, right? And these are their faces, so you should know them anyway. But yeah, so it's just me trying to I was excited and then I took a shot with them. Oh yeah, I'm done, right? I'm done. So, but in all of this process, you learn to relax and ensure to catch some fun with the whole process, right? Try to catch some fun with the whole process. Very, very important. So let me show you just a quick video to more like help you interface with what the experience can be like as when you get to be a Commonwealth Scholar. This is just like a 1-minute video. The video should play any moment from now. Okay. We should see it shortly. It's just a quick highlight of some of the things that happened during the event yesterday. Okay, are we good? I hope you are still here with me, right? I think You might want to start dropping in your question at the comment section about this minutes while while the video comes up shortly. Oh, there are many things I could not say. I'm so sorry. There will be a second. It's a series, right? So we would have more events like this. So I just want to show you some of the things that happened yesterday with just like a 1 minute Instagram video I was able to make. Yeah, so you see it now. Yeah, let me play that again for you. So it was fun yesterday. We had a great time. Yeah, we were able to catch up on ourselves. So there's this other one. It's not so good, but let me just show you briefly as well. Are you there? Are you still there? Hello, people.
Here we are, Elizabeth 2 Center.
It's too much about one thing. You need to try and balance your work.
Yeah, that lady was one of the speakers in the These are my friends from the Imperial College as well. That guy is impossible. And these guys are amazing. Well,
Yep. Yeah, that's my friend. Yeah, I met a number of amazing people. One of those guys there was from Bangladesh. Was it Bangladesh? And there are amazing things that he has done in his country, right? I think one of the things he said, which I'm still trying to think about, he said he was able to plant like 8,200 trees in 2 years as part of the initiative he took to help climate change and to and to yeah, it was pretty more like it's a very interesting initiative that he took. So there are a number of amazing people actually, and then you also get the opportunity to meet people when you get opportunities like this, right? It's not just about the academics, also about the networking and the connections. Yeah, so I think I'm done. I should be done. I'm done. Please maybe ask your questions. It will help me talk about some of the things I might have skipped. Yeah. Okay. Emmanuel, are you there? Okay. Yeah, you could follow me on Instagram at Michaelis Davis. Michaelis Davis. Yeah, we could keep in touch from there. You could also send me messages. Emmanuel, yeah, I should see your comments, right? Maybe if you have a question, you could comment about it now. So, I could respond. Questions? I need to see your questions so I can respond. If I don't see your comments, if I don't see your questions, I'll take it that you don't have any questions and that maybe you totally understand everything I've said, right? Okay, so okay, currently I don't know how many of us are still there, but I can't see any questions, so I take it that we are done, right? Okay, thank you very much. My question is it possible to apply without any work experience? The truth is, there is nothing, I don't believe in impossibilities, first of all. Yeah, it's very possible to apply without any work experience, but you should not have any experience at all. So you might not have professional work experience, but you could have voluntary work experience. In fact, sometimes what I do is, to be honest with you, some of the work experiences I communicated in my CV, I didn't distinguish whether it was a voluntary experience or it was a professional work experience, right? Experience is experience. To be honest, in fact, while I was at Enugu State University, the tertiary institution where I worked as a graduate teaching and research assistant, I was doing that without payment. So technically, it was a voluntary experience. It was not a work experience in quotes. But young man, I was working as a graduate. I think you're a man. Are you a man? Oh, sorry, young lady, right? I don't know if you're young. Sorry, you're a lady. Okay, so I was working as a graduate research and teaching assistant. Though I wasn't exactly being paid because it was a volunteer job. But young man, it was a work experience. So I don't think you should apply without a work experience, right? Get some experience. It doesn't matter whether you get paid or not. And then it's a matter of what you call it, right? You could call it work experience. You might not necessarily have to say categorically that this is a voluntary experience, but it should be as professional as possible, especially and it should be especially related to your field of study as much as possible, because those things are things that they look out for. I want to see that you have been doing things before now in line with what you intend to study, right? I think that's very important. Thank you, Michael, for such an insightful and helpful time. Thank you so much. I really hope I was able to say a number of things, right? So I think this YouTube video will remain on this channel. You could maybe stream through it and get to pause it for some of those slides I could not exactly elaborate on. But you don't want to joke with your personal statements. You don't want to joke with your CVs. You don't want to joke with your essays in this application. Very important. And your recommendation letters, please. Your recommendation letter. Some institutions will ask you to fill in the name of your referees, and then they will send them a personal email. So you want to you want to ensure that you maintain close relationship with all of these people that will be writing your references, right? Some of them might just get to write your reference and you could keep using it for all of the different application process. Kindly throw more light on the scholarship site. Yes. So I'm very sorry. I must apologize at this point, right? I actually intended to add a slide to show you some of those sites I was recommending. So what I'll do now is I will type them on the, I will just quickly, I will list them now on the comment section so you can see them and maybe directly subscribe to them, right? I hope I can comment. Oh no, I can't comment. I thought I could comment. Okay, I can't exactly comment. So maybe I'll just send them to our convener and he will find a way to get across to you. So I thought I could comment. I would have quickly written that on this page, but sorry, I could not comment. Yeah, but some of those scholarship sites, I just send them now to our convener, and we find a way to maybe share it with you or something, or add it to the comment section of this presentation. It's scholarship positions, and the website is scholarship-positions.com. We have After School Africa, and the website is afterschoolafrica.com. We have Global Scholarship. The website is uscollegeinternational.com. We have Scholarship Air. The website is scholarshipair.com. We have Scholarship Region. The website is Intel, INTEL, intelregion-mail.com, right? Then we have Education USA, educationusa.state.gov. So please forgive me if I were actually too fast. Was I too fast? Should I just maybe call them again? We have scholarship positions. We have the site for that is scholarship-positions.com. We have After School Africa, afterschoolsafrica.com. We have Global Scholarship. So these are popular sites, right? You could just maybe check their website and subscribe to them. Yeah, thank God it has been added to the comments. You can find them there, right? Great. So yeah, I think I'm done. Can I leave? I need the convener to let me know whether or not I can leave. I don't think there are any more questions. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate. And yeah, I hope I was able to say some things that were helpful. Anyway, yeah, I think they were. Some people said, gave me some positive remarks. So yeah, thank you so much, and that's it. Thank you for listening to my story. I didn't even share my story complete. Yeah, I did share my story complete. But it's well. It was an amazing experience anyway. Yeah, so that's what it is. Yeah. Thank you for your positive comments. I acknowledge you. Yeah, I'm done. So I guess I have to leave now, right?